Okay, hello everyone. This is my third time trying to record this fucking thing. Hopefully this time it'll behave. First one was OBS just not recording because it's a dick. The second one was the UI was missing, which I've never seen that. Oh, death. Here's the intro with Horny sitting in the waiting room. Because, yeah, this was made by Bullfrog, who has created Dungeon Keeper. Peter Molyneux did not work on this one. He was busy with Dungeon Keeper. But some of the core guys who did are about to release 2 Point Hospital soon, which is great. I've seen that 3 times now and it never gets old. Populous 3 demo. I've noticed that before. Oh, the melting face 3D is terrifying. It just kind of warps like it's made of water. It's genuinely fucking terrifying. Don't need no intro, thank you. We want to start a new game. That's fine. Okay, let's go. Please? Okay, clicking. So these will be here for you to read. They'll contain instructions or level goals and such. And that's about it. Playing this in a much smaller window than intended and originally attempted, it's weird, but, well. So first of all, we'll have to put down the GP's office because that's the first port of call. People have to go here to find out what they've got. You don't have one of these, that you're just not gonna do anything. Like, nobody's gonna tell your patient that maybe they shouldn't bleed all over the floor because what they have is just bog standard bleeding or whatever. I need to hire any psychiatrist I can get. I'll delve into what the symbols and everything mean. But for the first few months, speed is the key sometimes. As the pool of employees I can hire here, the computer has access to it and will zip up essentials if you let them. Not an issue right now when there aren't many exclusive talents and jobs and whatever, but will be later. Okay, so let's go over that while we can. We have a timer that we have to build a hospital before, but doctors come in 3 ranks: junior, doctor, or why did you do that, or consultant. Juniors are piss slow and terrible, and they can be trained to become doctors with some investment, and consultants are really goddamn good at their jobs and they move much quicker. You generally want at least medium-level docs, and if we go over, you see that little splotch? That means that he's trained to be a psychiatrist, which is good. We want a couple of them because you cannot have a regular doctor in psychiatry. They won't be able to do anything, like cure-wise. They'll just not do it. Probably while going, I didn't sign up for this shit. Because actually, and quite honestly, they didn't. So it's fine. But speaking of the crazy bin, let's build the crazy bin. All rooms, as you can see, have to be of a minimum size, and it's a good idea to make them bigger, but it's also not, like, required. The whole idea is to make the rooms nicer with extra stuff like that, which is also, you know, optional. Oops. Put one of them here. The ward is a mixed diagnosis cure room. people will go here for observation and before surgeries. Like, they're required to come here before surgeries. If they don't, then they just cannot progress to surgeries. It's a good idea to have one of these in case it's one of those monitor you overnight situations or illnesses, you know? In the recording that was lost, I could take off this door and put it somewhere and it would still work, which was a fantastic graphical glitch that scared the shit out of me. So, notably, one notable thing is I'm playing basic-ass vanilla theme hospital. It's not Core 6's improved version. It's not anything fancy. It's still wonderful, obviously. I'm just saying that I could play it at a high resolution and with other stuff, but it's... and I might, but it's not the original experience. If it becomes difficult, I might. But Core 6 in the past has been really, really wonky in my experience. Probably, you know, fixed a whole bunch of problems, but it also had like too many missing features. Like they didn't have epidemics, which is a godsend, honestly. It's a buggy feature. Or earthquakes, or some of the other fun stuff we'll have to deal with later. And trust me, we will have to deal with it later. So a fire extinguisher goes in rooms with mechanical equipment, such as this cure device. Mechanical equipment like this has a health bar. You can send a handyman over to it to repair it gradually, or you can spend a whole lot of cash to replace the machine immediately. If that health bar goes down, the machine will self-destruct. If it does that, the room is permanently gone. You can never, ever, ever use it again. So, you don't want to do that, and fire extinguishers help prevent that unfortunate eventuality. I mean, your machines are really fragile, and certain things that can and will happen take a gigantic toll on that health bar. Like over 50%. Easily and every time. As you can see, the advisor here gives you some tips. They're saying that people are too cold, so I'm just going to go over to this overview screen and crank up the heat. And here you can see how many people and objects and devices and things are in our hospital currently. I'll go over everything once we're set up because this is the tutorial level, so we'll very quickly just explain everything as we go, so I don't have to touch it on, you know, busier levels. It's worth noting that in the first recording I made the resolution way too big. Tried to do desktop resolution, which was a good idea on paper. Now on practice, the problem with that was I couldn't see shit. Like, most of the UI was hidden or outright missing, which was fantastic. Right. The GP's office is where you go to have basic diagnosis done. This is where you're told what your problem is, and until you graduate, until like someone says here, you know, what your problem is, you're not getting cured. If the doctor sees you, and he's not sure what the problem is immediately, then he will send you on to other diagnoses rooms, like the general diagnosis room here. Clicking on a door lets you view, you know, how many patients are queuing, they expect someone, etc., etc. And if someone is more, like here, like if I think this guy's gonna die soon, I can put him in the front of the queue to get him that little scene that little bit earlier. This is the pharmacy, which requires staffing by a nurse. They administer drugs that cure things like the uncommon cold. By the way, I will let these flash up for a few seconds so you can pause and read, but I will not be paying them attention, simply to save time, but they're very funny. Like, you should actually be reading them as much as possible. Now, if I go to my doctor, we can see that he is this amount of happy, he's that amount of not tired, and this is his relative skill level, any special treats, training, monthly salary, and it's worth noting, once I explain this thing, this is a VIP request. VIPs can come to your hospital, you can turn them away. If they come to your hospital and they see everything's fine, you get a reputation boost and or money, depending on how much your hospital's doing well. But back to my doctor. I'll go into the staff menu so you can get an overview of how many people you hired, what their salaries are, how their morale is. This one's being a dick again. Send the pay. I don't want to risk 50% maybe killing the guy. It's worth noting because staff get tired and have to go to the staff room to rest. For handymen, you can set their priorities between litter collection, watering plants, or fixing mechanical objects. It's worth keeping everything in tip-top shape. A direct casebook is where you get to change the price of your treatment, which I never had to adjust, and you shouldn't either. Because some people can refuse to pay or just go away and die, and you don't want that. So the cure for this particular illness requires a machine, and we have it. This is done by a drug that is currently at 100% efficiency, meaning that there's no chance that, unless we misidentify it, the patient will die when the treatment is administered, and we can handle it. That sort of thing. The research menu is not unlocked yet, we'll get into that next level. This is the objectives and information screen. I need to put down more radiators apparently. So for this level the goal is to have that much reputation, this much money, cure 40% of all my visitors, cure 10 people in general, and have a value of that much in my hospital. I need drinks machines and radiators. Fair enough. People don't queue for the toilet, by the way, so that's just never gonna get a thingamajig. I'm pretty sure I put a radiator in the thing here somewhere. Probably put another one. I'm doing this extremely badly right now. I need to go into this menu, and the only place that's not covered is right at the entrance and the bottom of general diagnosis. So I'm going to move that over here, and that fixes that issue. And I mistakenly didn't set up any benches for queuing at the inflation clinic. So almost all the diseases, or at least most of them, you know, if not all of them, are fake and humorous. This guy's got bloaty head. You can tell that, but they're not sure. So he's going to go and get checked out at the general diagnosis, which is just cardio, I think. It's not called a cardio because there's a cardio room, but you know, whatever. They're gonna see what's wrong with him, his diagnosis progress. The diagnosis meter shot up, so now he's gonna go into the doctor's office and be told that it's bloaty head, and he's gonna be sure. Okay. Okay, that's my mistake. I have to fix that. Make it a little bit faster. That was my fault. I got cocky with the layout. So, this one's just info. I don't care about this screen. It's info. That's it. Here's your policies where you can tell people what to do when. If your diagnosis for patient ever comes out at 10% or less, they're just getting sent home because there's no hope for them and they're gonna die, which is fantastic. 90% or more, you just go to the cure. It's unlikely to kill them, but it might happen. Once you're absolutely sure, you can stop diagnosing the patient, or you can overcharge them, which makes them, you know, worse, because it costs money and takes time. They won't like either of that, and staff can go to rest when they're that tired. 70% chance I'll take a risk. I did this in my first recording, so if this is like my first recording again, then this guy's dead. Because the 70% guy in the first recording has died. You will know if a patient dies. Let's see if you can figure it out. That one survived because it was a happy fanfare. Clicking on a patient will give you information about their happiness, thirst, and warmth level, their general health, and anywhere they may have been on a path. The VIP has examined our hospital and gave us a small cash grant and a small reputation boost. Now I can finally get to reputation. Down here is a bar. The higher your reputation is, the more patients you're going to have to deal with, but that also means more money for you when you cure things. So you generally want a higher reputation. Reputation takes a hit when you fail to cure people, when you send them home, when you are caught doing scandalous things, which I'll go into later, and when they die on premises, especially as a result of your choices.
Doctor required in general diagnosis.
That's a bit too quiet. That's fine. So, if a doctor gets tired... Already? I met all the criteria for the level, and I am now able to progress, which I'm gonna have to do.